All right. So Leanne, it's our first time getting a chance to meet each other. It's a first time getting a chance to talk. But I know that you have some things in your lifestyle that are in common with me, and so it's
Yeah,
good to
that's the
connect.
exciting part when we meet like-minded people.
Yeah, that's exciting about moving in this direction.
Yeah, yeah. I went full vegan in 2015, in the middle of 2015, in the summer there. And my journey has been very tumultuous, we'll say, personally. But now I'm full fruitarian and I love it. And being in Mexico is like the best. I have 9 papayas on my counter right now. And I had 3 mangoes for breakfast. It's so wonderful. As you know, in Canada, it's so hard to get a good papaya.
Mm.
Like they just don't, well, at
Oh,
least in
you can't
Saskatoon, yeah.
really get super nice papayas. No, it's hard for
No.
that.
Yeah.
Yes, I've been gotten into like juicing melons this year a lot. Like
Oh,
that's been
yum.
my way, which has been better than any other way that I've found.
Yeah, what is your favorite melon?
Oh, geez, I love melons of all kind. I like the canary melon. I like Santa melon, Santa Claus melon.
Yeah.
I, I like the watermelon. I like the cantaloupe, and I like the honeydew melon. These are the ones we get here. I love them all.
My friends always say, "What kind of fruit do you not like?" And I always say, "One that is unripe and bad."
That's
Those are the
it.
exactly. So I've learned that watermelon is sandia in Spanish. So when I go to the fruterias, I can ask for some sandia.
Oh,
So it's
super cool.
yeah, it's
So,
great to be
this
here.
is a funny thing talking about like a fruitarian lifestyle or a fruitarian diet. Like a lot of people are confused about this because all you hear in the population is all that sugar and
Yeah, bah.
you can't get enough protein and you're missing your essential fats and there's no B12 and what do you say like why do you think the population thinks that way and the truth is this way? Why did you go this way?
Well, it's really interesting because people will say, well, that's my truth, following a keto diet or following, eating high protein or whatever. And I say, okay, well, that's fine. That might be your truth, but it's not the truth. And I am of the mind that God gave us what we need, and everything is in the packages that are provided to us. If you look at our biology, we are made to be eating raw fruit and leafy greens and things that are provided to us in that form. And so that's where you get your most nutrition and your most benefit, and it moves through your body best. When I look at, some of the let's say, narrative around protein and eggs and milk, there's a lot driving that has nothing to do with nutrition. And so the common collective has been steered incorrectly, I believe. And so for me, it's about living by example. I came through a lot of health challenges and I'm here. I'm here, living my best life. I'm able to do things that I couldn't do before. I was literally on Mattress Island. So, um, I just hope that the message gets out to more people and it'll increase the availability of the things that we actually need.
More people can find out that they can heal themselves by coming into balance with nature and things that were made from nature and less
Yes.
from things that have been um, tailored in a certain way, tainted in any way by man.
Exactly. Processed in any way. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, and
What's
that's
really interesting is I did go vegan and I didn't experience some of the healing that I needed to do, some of the detoxing. And I found out that it's not just about diet. It has to be about everything, all parts of your life, about balance, about being grounded, about being in nature, about breathing, about trusting, about knowing that your body knows what it's doing and surrendering to the process of healing. And I think you can think your way through it and think you're doing all the right things and try and force and all of that. But until you really let go and trust, I think those of us that have been truly, truly sick aren't going to find the healing that we're looking for.
I feel like you're touching on the emotional aspects of our
Yeah.
healing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
There's a big relationship between our food and our drink and our think and our emotions
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
our breathing too. We tend to hold our breath, or we
Hmm.
you know, shallow breathe, or we hold our body in a posture a certain way. So this happens from our reactions to our life.
Hmm. Yeah, part of my healing, as you probably know, is through the medical medium, and people often say that he will mention things, or he doesn't talk about the spiritual enough, but it's there. There's lots of meditations, there's lots of things there in his work, that support that path, and if you're not ready to hear the message, though, I think you kind of miss it. And for me, a lot of the people that I work with, they aren't maybe ready to hear some of those messages yet. And maybe some initial detox needs to start happening before they can clear that pathway to the divine where they get those messages. And people often say to me, "Well, how come you don't eat meat, or how can you not eat meat?" And I can't even fathom it at this point. Like I can't fathom eating another animal or even products from an animal. Like I just it just doesn't resonate with me at all. And yet I'm super excited when I find, a ripe mango in a store, and I just get so excited about it and I eat it with such joy and gusto. And I don't think when I started this process, I would have had that spiritual openness to eat this way. So some of that detox had to happen first before I could move into the healing of the emotions and detoxing the emotions. Yeah.
It's like a
Yeah.
little bit of time to get to the point where you really start healing the emotional body. Like it takes some time, and that's it. Like it takes some time to actually unwind your past sins and correct your life. Like this is it. Like it doesn't happen overnight, but I think a lot of
No.
people say they're going to do like a 30-day water fast, or they're going to do a 30-day juice fast, and they're just going to whack it out. They're just going to
Their poor, their poor body.
just going to take a 3-week water fast and I'm going to get rid of it.
Yeah,
Doesn't
that
go
that that's
this
not
simple. You
it's not
can't
quite how it
force
works.
it.
No, their poor body. I feel sad for them. Well, and a lot
Right.
of people have such high expectations for short periods of time, and they don't realize that, especially those of us in middle age, that it took time to get to this place, and it's going to take time to unwind. And as you go through the process, if you're willing to just start, take that first step, then I think, you'll be on your way and you'll get to the point where things start to drop off and you start to morph and change, and that joy comes back that I feel has, maybe is missing in some people's lives, for sure. Yeah.
We've lost the joy of paying the bills.
Yeah, isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
I worked at a position that was so stressful. I was working like 10 to 12 hours a day. It was incredibly stressful. And, I was trying to heal through that. I was trying to detox through that with massive amounts of adrenaline running through my system. You can't do that. That doesn't work that way. And eventually I got to the point where I completely collapsed, completely burnout to the point where I couldn't actually speak without slurring my words. I couldn't dress myself. I couldn't drive. I couldn't read an email. I couldn't listen to music. I couldn't watch TV.
Dizziness,
Nothing.
headaches, can't barely stand up. Like this is what happens.
It was
Like I get myself
insane.
this sick. out of balance in my life.
Yes, yes, yes.
Mental, emotional, energetic, spiritual
Everything.
imbalance
Yeah,
in my life. Yes,
yeah,
chaos.
yeah, yeah. And the interesting thing is once you get to that very, very rock bottom and you realize you're not going to live, you're not going to make it through this if something doesn't change. And for me, I was already vegan. So for me, a lot of the change had to happen at the emotional level. Get out of the toxic relationships and move into something that's more centered in who I am and what I want to do and how I want to help people. I'm a Reiki master actually, and so some of the Reiki sessions that I've done on people have been really, I'm going to say life altering. And most of the time, while there's some physical stuff that happens, but most of the time it is at the emotional level that then changes everything. And it's for me, I needed to collapse before I was willing to really look at what do I need? Stop giving to everybody else. It's time to really nurture my own soul. And once I started that, then I was able to create a life where I could start to give back. And that's really my dream, helping people walk this path and walk to wellness and live their best life.
So let me get it straight then.
Mm,
If we heal ourselves, then we will become so inspired by what happens from healing ourselves and what we learned that we will want to help others to heal themselves.
absolutely. At least that's how it is for me. But I've seen it in
Seems
lots of
like this
people.
is the way that it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
you reach down and you pull somebody else up. Like that's how it's always
Mm-hmm.
been.
Mm-hmm.
Someone
Mm-hmm.
that's been through that journey for themselves, that mind, body, spirit journey for themselves,
Yeah.
is able to now be a light and a support, an accountability partner, a person to share with, to help
That's
another
right.
person to come
Yeah.
up. This is how it is. This is how it goes.
I've
Yeah.
often thought of myself as a bridge between two worlds. One where there's a heavy, thick energy and one where there's a light, vibrant energy. And I think that, when we think about purpose, for me, it's about being that helping hand, being that person that that has been through hell, true hell, and can really have compassion for wherever the person that is working with me is at, because I've been there. It's been awful, you know, and there is another way. And that's the most important part, right? Is helping people see that there is another way. Yeah,
Yes, to go within to manage your life rather than to address your life from the outside.
exactly. Exactly.
Grow inside.
Yeah. Yeah. I was one of the lucky people in the world that have had a near-death experience. And I was lucky enough to be able to see what the other side is like and to feel it and to know why we're all struggling to feel that from where we came, to have that brightness, to feel that love, to feel that unconditional love. And I will never forget that experience. It was absolutely life altering, but it has also allowed me to grow my own self in ways that I never would have probably dreamed possible. But to be able to also see that light in every single person here and every, living thing, trees and, the sunshine and even the wind, to have that beauty and to be able to see that. And like you say, that's what I want for others to be able to see that and feel it and rejoice in it and make choices that bring more of that to this world.
And so, this is like a lightening up of your diet. This is a fasting lifestyle. This is a liquid lifestyle. This is a raw lifestyle, a moving in this direction of vegan or raw vegan or juicitarian or even fasting. So working with what, nourishing yourself with breath, nourishing yourself with breathing and foods that are breathing, foods that are alive. Like it's
Yeah,
about,
living. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
getting into life. Like if I want to be alive, I got to get into living foods and living things, things that bring life into my body, invigorating
Yeah.
thoughts, inspired thoughts, hopeful ideas.
Yeah, yeah. But John, and you probably know this as a coach yourself, is that not everybody's ready to jump in full on, right? You have to meet them where they are. And if they have to eat cooked foods, that's fine. That's what they have to do. And if they have to start with simply hydration, and drinking lemon water or coconut water or cucumber juice or whatever it is to start that process, and that's where we start with them, right? And as they start to cleanse and start to move some of that out, I fully believe that you don't want to go too fast because that can shock the body, right? And even fasting it can be really hard on the adrenals. It can be beneficial if you're in a place where you're ready for it, but for lots of people, they're not, and it's way too hard on them. And so you have to start with where they're at. What are they willing to do? Are they willing to, give up dairy, for instance? Are they willing to, you know, give up gluten or some of the things that are, as we know, quite harmful? And so I try to work with people with wherever they're at. We go over their health history, where they're at, what their goals are, what do they want to do, and then try to pick one thing that they can do. Find one thing that will move them in the right direction. And then we can reevaluate. We can see how it goes. We see how they react. And most often I found with my clients, they are super excited to take the next step because they feel so much better just starting, and I'm sure you find that as well. You meet them where they are, and eventually, and I put this on my Facebook group, is that, it's almost like magic that as you start to detox, it moves into the spiritual detox. It just moves there magically, and you start to, I don't know, it's like
Grow.
it's the best. Yeah, grow. It's the best thing ever. Yeah. Yeah. When you're
Yeah,
ready.
it's it's really though, it's really remembering. This is the thing. Like
Oh,
we're really
yes.
remembering what we've forgotten. Like we used to do this before we were 7. We used to just do it naturally, just listen to our intuition. As children, we just bounced around and just followed it. And then all of a sudden we learned like this is not good and that's not good, and then we started to like build this personality of what part of me is not good, and I forgot that I'm good.
Yeah.
And I can come back to that child that knows, like the body knows the way, like it did it for a time, so it knows how to work with this energy that's within you, and you can learn how to work with it again, but it's going to kind of rush up if you start to go too fast into your diet or your fasting, and then all of a sudden you get whacked by a bunch of energy that just sort of like you can't manage it, and then you get sick or there's some chaos in the life, something breaks, something gets injured, I have to stop. So it's
Mhm.
like you can push really hard, but it doesn't happen faster. Like, how fast can the grass grow?
Yes, that's very true.
How can I
Very
make
true.
the grass grow faster? Like, put more sunlight on it. Pour more water on it, does it grow faster? Like to a point, but there's a limit to how fast it can grow.
That's
There's a
very
limit
true.
to how fast you can heal. You can't tell God to go faster.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I know. I tell people, Anthony Williams says that the liver takes 9 years to rejuvenate and regenerate. And so you have to be committed. Like think about it. Take at least 9 years. And they go, 9 years? Well, start with one day, start with 1 minute,
Start with,
start with one
look at it
step.
over a year, look at it over 30, 90 days.
Exactly.
Okay, to get started, right? But like
That's right.
really think about this over a year. Think about it over a couple of years. Think about, look, I'm getting healthy. This next
Yeah,
decade is about health. It's
that's
about
right.
my
Yeah,
health. It's
yeah,
about my very best health, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual health.
exactly. So, John, how do you deal with people that just believe in old age, that it's a part of aging?
This is the thing. Like, we've been sold this idea of old age. We've learned it in school with the science and the endocrine function, and they say it's just old age us dropping like this. But I say it's not as much old age as it is old ideas about nutrition are leading us into bad habits with nutrition that we sustain for 30, 40, 50 years. And then we start to get acidosis in the body, which presents itself in all sorts of old age like symptoms, aches and pains and problems in all parts of the body. Gaining weight, losing motivation, can't sleep, digestive problems, elimination problems, body fat, blood pressure,
Well, one
what
of the
you
things
name
that,
it, you
yeah,
name
and
it.
people have accepted that these are
These
normal,
are
quote unquote.
old age. Like,
I
that's
know,
just a
I know.
part of it. Like, but you can't convince someone. This is what
No,
I've learned is you can't really
no,
convince someone to get healthy or convince someone to change. Like, all you can do is model it for them.
model it. Yeah, yeah. And that's one of the things that I've heard a lot is that, well, how do I make my spouse or how do I make my children or how do I make my
No,
parents, you
stop
know,
trying.
yes, when I say to stop trying, that's not their
Do it.
path.
Do
Yeah,
it. Don't,
yeah,
if you want to get them to, do it yourself. This is how
that's
you
right.
get the other to do it. Just do it. If
That's
you
right.
do it, if
Oh, I
you
love this.
actually do it, you'll bring so much more energy into your family that everybody's going to start doing it. Like, don't try to get them to do it. Then
That's
you're like
right.
a police officer. How much do you like the police officer trying to tell you what to do all the time? It doesn't feel good. Don't
No,
be a cop in your family. Like, you'll mash your family up with it. Like, I only know because I did. Don't do it.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Unfortunately, we have to learn the hard way. Like, we have to get sick before we learn how to get well.
Yeah,
We have
yeah,
to get scared enough that we really recognize, oh boy, I have to change the way I'm doing my life.
yeah, that's for
You know,
sure.
we
Yeah.
have to make a big mistake with our family or with our partner or with our relationship or with food or with our health or with our finances. You have to step in some, mess before we go, okay, whoa, I get it. I'm ready to change my life.
Well, and the thing is too, is that the people that are with you, around you, they have to be ready. They have their path. They have their whatever that they're living through, that they're independent souls that will either, join you or not, right?
Grow or go.
That's right. That's right.
Grow or go.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the you have to grow, and you just, try your best to interact with everyone else around you in the most loving way that you can. And if you bring more love into your family, into your workplace, into your future, in your vision, if you bring more love to your life, what do you think's going to happen to your life?
Yeah. That's exactly it right there in a nutshell.
Up every day and bring more love into your day with the way
Yeah.
you eat, the way you sleep, the way you speak, the way you move, the way you breathe, the things you do, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Anthony Williams says if you wake up every day and you say, I work for God or the universe or whatever your belief system is, but if you say that every day, it will
I'm in
literally change your
service.
life.
I'm a tool.
Yes. Use me
Use me.
as a
Use me as a
yeah,
tool.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Get a bigger picture of yourself in your life. Make it about something bigger than yourself in your life. The bigger the picture you make it, this is about humanity getting better. This is about, I'm doing this to make and inspire others to get better. Like this is
That's right.
a bigger vision than just, I got to lose 15 pounds. I got to lose 10 pounds by the wedding, or I got to do this in the next 6 weeks, or I got to get rid of this so fast. Like get rid of the time and just get into like, this is a lifestyle.
Well, let's talk about weight because a lot of people that want to do this, it has to do with weight. But it's not always your body's first priority. Losing weight isn't necessarily your body's first priority. If you have a lot of toxins that you're letting go out of your liver, out of your organs, out of your bones, wherever, you know, the body has to be able to eliminate it. You know this, right? And if it can't eliminate it, where does it put it? Sometimes it has to put it in fat as storage until it can eliminate it, right? So sometimes we actually gain weight before we lose it. And that's okay. Again, your body is smart. It knows what it's doing. It's protecting you. It's helping you. And if you're giving it the right tools, the right fuel, you're going about this in the way that is most in balance with what we are, who we are, then you'll get to where you need to be. But letting go and allowing that process is probably the one of the harder things for a lot of people.
Like patience, like how do we have
Hmm.
patience
Hmm.
like with,
Hmm.
and back to that body fat, I really like that point and I want to add to it. um Body fat, we're told it's stored calories. I want to try to shift this perception, and I really want to see it as inflammation in the body, or
Hmm.
mess in the body, or
Hmm.
um acid in the body, or waste in the body. Like this is waste in the body. Like when you see on the back of your legs and you see that stuff on the back of your legs, I
Hmm.
want to say, that's that's deep fat inside of the body that, we have to remove at the level of the lymphatic system. Like
Hmm.
this is
Hmm.
not something that you get away just by squeezing your bicep or squeezing your tricep or squeezing your tummy. Like
Yeah,
you can't squeeze this away. Like this needs to be removed from the body, from the inside. Like you need to
yeah,
get that out of your lymphatic system. And that is a process that's
yeah.
going
It
to
takes
take
time.
time.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly exactly right. And it's funny because I'm quite active, at least when it's nice. When it's not as nice, I don't get out as much. But I eat an exorbitant amount of calories. Like I've counted, and I'm about 3,000 calories a day, and I'm 5'5". I weigh 120, and never change weight. Never. I can eat as much as I want or as little as I want. And sometimes I'm really hungry and sometimes I'm not. But once you start to cleanse and you start to allow your body to work the way it's meant to, then it uses what it needs to and it lets go of the rest. So I
It's
agree
like the
with you.
body comes back into balance. Like if I
That's right.
pursue balance, if this is what I seek, seek and you shall find. If I seek balance every day, well, everything in nature balances. This is just the nature. So if I do natural
Right.
things, then I should come back into natural balance, logically.
That's right. So what do you tell people about their cravings?
You know, at one point when I started into it, I was really militant, like very, very strong with the Fruitarian for a couple of years. And I was so inspired by this that I went actually further and I started to practice the breatharian and started to go for a longer fast times and, dry fasting, really very extreme, very extreme. And after 4 years of that, then I started to temper it. I started to temper it because my family is not this way, So um, I eat on the weekends with them. So I started to find a little bit of a comfort between the two. And in the balancing of the two, that this is where I was able to find emotional healing. Like
Mm.
it, it's like I found the energy from extreme fruitarian and fasting and raw and dry fasting. I found the energy this way because when you take away your food, well, how does the body propel itself? Well, you find a new source of energy for yourself. You remember a way that you've lost the ability to do, but it's within you. You just lost your ability to, and you get it back again. Once you have that back, that awareness of energy, of your energy body, then it's not so much about the food. And then so I find I was not so affected by the food. So I allow myself to have weekend relax and flexibility. And then I return back to my fasting each week. So I'm in a raw food sort of flexible lifestyle where I spend 4 or 5 days of the week where I'm pursuing my raw food goals, and then I have a little bit of flexible, relaxed time. So I say, you know what? I tell people not to really push away cravings. I tell people that you're always going to have to face these cravings for your whole life. So you really have to find a way to just have some sort of boundaries with these things. It's not that you can't have those things sometimes, it's that you can't have those things all of the times.
Yeah,
So
interesting.
we need to have some boundary here, and we need to create some boundary. We need to create some management and self-control to be able to put this into a system or a method for your life, and where you're cycling this lifestyle along with more of a maybe what you're more used to on the weekend, maybe with your family, and then coming back and forth. This is a transition style that I teach.
Yeah, and I also would like to add that, self-compassion is probably one of the biggest things that can help you heal. Understanding that there is a time and a place when you need to have um, what feeds your soul, which may be not where you are physically or how to say this. It's more just giving yourself the grace to be human, giving yourself that space to have to treat yourself with kindness, whatever that means for you in that moment.
Self-acceptance,
Yeah, self-acceptance and yeah. Yeah, I know having compassion for others is sometimes easier than having compassion for ourselves. You know,
self-approval,
yeah, yeah, to really treat
self-worth,
yourself with love. Yeah, yeah,
self-value.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Yeah.
Self-belief.
Hmm.
Yes. We have to give this to ourselves. We have to learn how to do that, become empathetic, compassionate to ourselves,
Hmm.
for ourselves.
Hmm.
We have to kind of learn how to get out of ourselves. We
Yeah.
have to get
Cut
out of
yourself
our
a little
story.
slack. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, and even look at the stories that you tell yourself, right? And become aware of what those stories are. And what is the narrative? We all talk about the narrative on the news, mainstream media. Well, what's the narrative in your own head? You know, what are you telling yourself you're capable of? I always find it so inspiring to see some of these, 80-year-olds and 90-year-olds out doing yoga, doing gymnastics, doing tennis. Those are inspiring stories. And how did they get there? Because they told themselves they could, right? Because they believed it, because that was part of their narrative. So, helping people to look at what is your narrative? What are you saying to yourself? How do you have that self-compassion? How do you morph into what you want? Like you say, it's a process, takes time.
It's a process and it takes a relationship, like, having a relationship with someone, because you're talking about these are loving things. Like you're talking about love, you're talking about feelings, empathy,
Hmm.
compassion, the way you're thinking
Yeah,
and speaking about
yeah.
yourself. This is all very deeply close personal relationship type of dialogue. So it's like you have to build a relationship with someone. Like it grows as the relationship grows, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because way back when I was probably at my sickest, I would honestly say I didn't even know what an inner child was. I didn't know what self-compassion was. In fact, I remember Googling, what is compassion? What is that word? What does it
And Google's
mean?
not a great source for these things.
No, no, it isn't. But if you have no clue, if you've been cut off so far from yourself, from your understanding, then, you know, that's where you start. That's where you start.
You got to go deeper though, but you got to go deeper. Like that's it. It's not like you just start. Like it's like you start and then you keep on going.
That's right. Exactly. One step in front of the other. My mom always used to say,
You have
my
to
mom
take
always,
another step. Don't stay there
no,
though.
exactly. Don't stay in Google land. My mom always used to say, take it one day at a time. Just take it one day at a time. And I always loved that. But sometimes she would say, yeah, but when it gets really hard, sometimes you got to take it a minute at a time. Sometimes you have to stop and just take it a minute at a time. And
Sometimes
that,
you're floored on your back, laying down, can't move, broken by my life, dealing with the
yeah,
emotional healing that's involved. This is no simple journey. It's the
no,
road less traveled for a reason.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And so sometimes if you're taking it a minute at a time, that's where self-compassion asserts itself, you know? Yeah.
In the moment,
Mm-hmm.
being present is a big key. It's
Mm-hmm.
where the
Mm-hmm.
love is. It's where we feel love. It's where we feel loving. So
Yes.
coming to present and being present with ourselves, it's being in the parasympathetic. That's where the
Right.
body
That's
heals.
right.
I need to
Mm-hmm.
create that on a
Mm-hmm.
daily basis for
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
myself. I need to make
Yeah,
that my predominant reality. Like that's where
that's
I am
right.
more often, healing myself,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
working on my healing, working on my health. I'm getting healthy. How you doing?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, for sure. Wonderful.
Wonderful. Really nice to chat with you
It's nice to
today.
chat with you too, John. I'm so glad we got
Yeah.
to connect and got to get to know each other a little. This has been great. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So I'll post this in the group and hopefully I'll see you there for more and we'll do some more.
Yeah. Yeah. And I hope people will take the time to join Purpose Plus Healing. Um, they can learn
Oh,
more
yeah.
about fruits and vegetables and
Yes. Yes.
yeah.
Share what's on your heart, love. What would you like to share about? Where to get a hold of you?
Yeah, yeah, just if you reach out, if you reach out to, it's a private group, just as yours is, and if you just search for Purpose Plus Healing, you'll find it, and there's a few questions to get joined, but we're there, we talk, we discuss fruits and vegetables, we, share a lot of the medical medium information and lots of different healing, and yeah, it's a great place. So looking forward to being part of your group and seeing you and others in our group.
Thank you, Leanne.
Thanks,
See you
John.
later.
Bye.
Bye.